Okay, I'm back. I'm doing an Ancestor Speak video, and today's topic is on abortion. First, I want to apologize for being guilty of withholding information and not saying things as promptly as I get the messages. I apologize to you all, to my people, and I apologize to my ancestors for not hauling ass, as they say, and getting the message out as soon as possible. So, about abortion. So, the ancestors, and I'm going to do my best to explain it, what they're saying to me so that everyone can understand. So, what they're saying is the number one killer of black people is not what we think it is. Like, I know right now you're looking in the news and you see so many of us being killed by our white counterparts, or lack thereof. That's a whole other video that I have not made yet about counterparts. But anyway, white people. And you see disease, you see HIV, you see the diabetes, you see heart disease, and so on and so on. So the real truth is the number one killer of black people is abortion. We abort probably about 1.5 billion babies, black, beautiful, precious babies here in the US a year. Okay? It was not okay, but that's what we're looking at. That's our number one killer. The ancestors are like, your numbers are super, super, super important. The quantity of us, we should not be quote unquote minorities. We aren't minorities when you look at us globally, but don't believe the hype about us being minorities in the US either. They're going to continue to say that because they want people to think that they're the majority. They aren't the majority, they just hold the power. So the ancestors are like, understand that you are your parents, right? You hold an X chromosome and a Y chromosome, and they mix together and they make you. And they came from their parents, who came from their parents and their parents, and so on and so on, back and forth. Back and back, further generations and generations. When we die and we go into the realm of the ancestors, or the afterlife as some people call it, I just have a habit of saying the realm of the ancestors because that's the way it was introduced to me. That's where I found my ancestors to be, which isn't in the third dimension that we live in. It's in a separate dimension, a separate reality. But I'm not going to get all into that. But anyway, at any given time when you are in the afterlife, you may, for whatever reason, seek re-entrance into the third dimension, which is this planet Earth. You may at any given time seek re-entrance. When you, as a woman, abort your child, you are denying your ancestor re-entrance. And it's a cursed thing to do interdimensionally, if that makes sense. Stopping life, stopping the flow of what is spirit, because we are spirit, and believe it or not, you live at will, and you are always at will. You are bound by the laws of the universe, whether you choose to do good or choose to do bad. A lot of people say, oh, we're not, because if we do bad, we're going to get punished. Well, yes, that is the way the universe works. You will get punished, so make a good choice or be able to deal with the consequences. But you are at will, and when you take the life of an unborn baby, you are taking away that baby's will to live. And understand that it's not just your baby. Like, the ancestors are like, get literal with it, get all the way down. Let's just say this. Say, I don't know, my great aunt dies and I get pregnant, I don't know, maybe next year, And I'm like, oh my God, I don't like this child's father. Oh my God, I'm broke. I can't afford to take care of this baby. Oh my God, this, and oh my God, that. I'm just going to get rid of this baby. And lo and behold, unbeknownst to me, that may be my great aunt trying to come back. And I'm just like, huh, no, I can't afford you. It isn't about whether you know who's coming back. The ancestors are like, don't start with that. And that's an old ancient African practice. If y'all don't believe what I'm saying when I say that they seek re-entrance into this dimension, it's a well-known fact. Many tribes all across the continent of Africa and plenty of other places perform ceremonies on pregnant women to find out who was coming back. Not who was, also who was a baby, what's their name, but also what ancestor of which family member was coming back into the third dimension. And that being said, the ancestors are like, stress that it's a cursed thing to deny them re-entrance. And I don't know how to remove the curse. And if they know how to remove it, they're not going to tell me anyway, because you have to understand, especially for all of you that are pro-Black and you know what I mean, about the cause, and understand our struggle and really want to see us do better as a people. We have got to stop denying our ancestors re-entrance into this universe, into this 3D dimension. It is like, I can't even explain the importance. They've been talking to me about doing this video for a very long time. Like, I'm gonna probably go back as far as 2 to 3 months. I've just been I was sick for a time, and then just mostly energy drained, and I'm pretty vain, and I didn't want to make a video looking a crappy mess. But I don't care if I look a crappy mess or not right now. I'm just like, okay, in order for the energy to start shifting in my life and for things to start going the way that I want to do, because I absolutely do want to have more energy and more time to help people and of course improve my spiritual growth, but also helping people is an important part of that for me. And so the ancestors are like, speak out, start saying what we're telling you. You can't keep holding the messages in. You are holding back other people's growth and other people's progress. So if you have done it before in the past, I highly, highly, highly recommend that, whether you know the name of the person or not, because I do feel like I'm not the only spiritual person. We are spiritual beings by nature, no matter who tries to be super scientific and super methodical. And, I study this and I study that, and I need proof. There are things that we cannot physically prove. And being that, being the Africans that we are, we don't need that proof. You know what you know. And I know that I do not have the right to deny my ancestor re-entrance. I have not taken that burden on myself. I've always known that. But now I'm able to explain that to other people. If you have done it, I highly recommend that you go to your ancestors one way or another with a sacrifice. I highly recommend, and this is, led by spirit, if you have any recent ancestors that have passed and you have been pregnant and you aborted that baby, please make your offering to that particular ancestor and do a separate offering to older ancestors that you may not have known the name to. But understand this, that ancestors are like, we must begin as a people to take responsibility for our actions. If you have done it, there's no need for you to go to a pastor. There's no need for you to go to a priest to confess, or or tell a family member or a friend if you kept it secret. There's no need for you to do that. But however, there is a need for you to be open in the spiritual world and understand the wrong that you have done and offer a sense of atonement, okay? Because you are throwing the universe out of balance when you know that life is a circle. You know that things, they need balance. I'm kind of getting at a loss for words here. I'm trying to explain it the best way that I can. But, they say there's a circle of life. The baby goes into childhood, and then they go into adolescence and into adulthood, and they create their own children. And those children go baby, childhood, and there's a circle. But when that baby, you have to think about what we don't get taught is that baby is possessed by a particular energy, a person. I am an energy. I am a person. Before I got here, I am an energy. I am a spirit. And I suck. Let's see this. And just like other people, found my own mother and said, this is the person this is the family line, this is where I'm going in, this is going to be right now, this time, this date, this hour, that's what's going to happen, that's where I'm going. I particularly know for myself that I did not come back into my own family's bloodline. I grabbed any family that was available at the time to get here. I'm not going to get an explanation about that right now. I just know that about my particular self, that this is not my bloodline that I came back through, that I came into someone else's bloodline out of urgency. But we won't talk about that. I remember before I came here and other things. And you have to understand that two things. The ancestors are like, don't deny us re-entrance, because we know what's going to set you free in the future. When you are denying these unborn babies, your ancestors re-entrance into the third dimension, you are denying your freedom. Understand that. Our freedom as a people. Don't just be selfish and think about yourself and think, oh, I can't afford it, or if I'm denying my ancestor, it's on me. Don't think that way, because it's not just on you, it's on your people as a whole. We all suffer by people who should have been reborn. Our Malcolm X's, our Marcus Garveys, they should have been reborn, but we're missing them. In case y'all didn't notice, in these generations, you have quietness, crickets, idiots, you know what I mean? These ADHD things going around, and I don't know how else to say it, but you have got to stop dumbing down this next generation. You have got to stop teaching them the things that you were taught that you know weren't good for you. You know that you were held back by learning the things that they teach you in these schools in the U.S. So teach your children further, push them farther. For those of you that did not do that thing, push your children, teach your children, let them open themselves up, because they can remember the afterlife. They can remember their previous lives if you allow them to. And they are our key to the future. They are our key to freedom, our key to a better life, a better quality of life while we're living on this planet. It is time for us to take back the keys. The ancestors are like, it is time, but it's not going to happen with this old generation. It may not even happen with me. I'm an 80s baby. It may not happen in my generation. But it is for sure meant to happen in this next generation that you see coming up now. So this high level of abortions have got to stop in order for us to see change. These next babies that are coming into the world are coming as revolutionaries, and they do not give a flying hoot about any type of doctrine, about any type of religion, about any type of format or structure that we think is necessary in a quote-unquote modernized society or in civilization. They don't care. They come to break it down. And so the ancestors are like, stop denying us entrance and then asking us for help. For those of you that do ask for help, and I'm saying this because some ancestors are feeling particularly angry. I'm getting angry. I'm feeling a lot of anger and a lot of hostility. They're telling me that there are people who call themselves being conscious and being black and pro-black and all this other kind of stuff. And even you are aborting your babies. It's got to stop, and it's got to stop now. Be responsible for your actions. Do not practice unprotected sex if you cannot afford it, or if you do not love this person enough to have a child with them or raise a child with them, so on and so on. Whatever your poor ass excuse of a reason it is to abort a child, be responsible and prevent it from happening from the beginning. Okay? And I'm going to close this video out by talking about some non-conventional birth control. So a lot of people can't really deal with hormone birth controls, taking the pill, using patches. Some people don't agree with condoms. I'm one of them. And I will tell you out of personal experience that, and it's my personal recommendation, and also, the ancestors are like, please get out there and study. There are many methods of preventing pregnancies, and you need to educate yourself, and you need to put it into practice, and don't be so afraid to put it into practice, because it does work, okay? And it's a lot more beneficial to prevent it from happening rather than to do what we discussed in this video. Excuse me. So I personally, for like a couple of years, did not have any insurance. I did not have any birth control, therefore I did not see any doctors because I had no insurance. So I was reading up on some holistic health methods of preventing pregnancy, and I'm not talking about pulling out. I think at first, I remember I started, I bought some over-the-counter spermicide, and I did not get pregnant. They're like 80-some%, whatchamacallit. And I will say that I'll put myself out there. I was pregnant one time, and unfortunately, I went into early labor and gave birth too soon, and there's nothing I can do about it. And the baby was not old enough or with enough weight or anything like that to survive on her own. So I was still with the same person. That happened early on in our relationship. I was 5 months pregnant, and I went into labor, and out of nowhere, and there was just nothing I could do about it, and anything that I wanted to do would pretty much kill me, because I was just at a, once you start dilating or whatever, once you start dilating, your cervix is open and you're open to infection that could more than likely bruise your womb for ever getting pregnant again. So I had to make a decision. Well, right. And then I knew that the baby wouldn't survive. It was too young. So that's me putting myself out there. But after that, I decided that I did not want to get pregnant again, and that I wasn't prepared, and that whole ordeal, I'll talk about it in another video. But it really, really, really took a toll on me. And me being with that same person, some time passed, and I didn't have any insurance. And I read about neem oil. And so neem oil kills sperm on contact. First, I started using the spermicide that was about 80-some%. Then I started studying holistically, because I felt like, damn, I'm putting chemicals in my vag. And it was really drying, and it kind of felt like it was, it was weird. I didn't like it. So I started looking up other methods, and that's when I found out about neem oil. It kills sperm on contact. You pretty much apply it inside the vagina and on the outside where sperm might have contact with the skin. I did not get pregnant for 2 years. No condoms, no nothing. Just neem oil. The other thing, the cool thing about neem oil, it is also male birth control. If a male takes neem oil capsules by mouth, it will take down his sperm count, and therefore he will be impotent. He won't be able to produce any babies. So, which is probably, neem oil kind of has a funny smell to it, so it's probably a more preferred method. I do recommend that if you're going to do it, don't just assume that your sperm count went down low. Go get tested if you can, and make sure that it went down low. But the ancestors are just, most importantly, I'm sharing that because I know most people don't know about that. And I do still, to this day, do not have any children. So it is a wonderful method, okay? I just want to say that the ancestors are like, don't just ask us for things. Come through with who you say you are, if that makes sense. Like, don't, they're like, do your part. Come through with who you say you are. Begin to raise your children in the ways that they are teaching you. If you're getting intuitive messages the same way I get them, please use them. The next generation is just incredibly, incredibly important. Please remember that they are our freedom, and they are our ancestors seeking entrance back into this third dimension in order to help us and to free us. They are bringing us knowledge that we don't have access to, that we don't know, things that we need to be free. So with that being said, once again, I apologize for being late on the video, but yeah, have a good night.